And good morning.
Good
Will.
morning.
It's the Christmas special. Here we go. Looking at it, you wouldn't think it's Christmas, would you?
Not at all. Not at all. I
Not
think that's
at
the
all.
one thing we forgot today.
How are you doing, JP? Anyway, are you good?
I'm doing very well. It's almost Christmas, right? Less than a week, so all very excited about that.
It is. It's all the busy stuff comes up, but I'm thinking about this. At least we can't go out shopping this time, which is, well, I don't know about you, but for me, I'm in a tier 3 place, so at least I get to avoid going Christmas shopping, which is something good. Right. Good morning, everybody. It is the Friday Fireside. It is the Christmas special. I'm joined by my good friend Jonas Pitteljon. I'm Jonathan Perry, if you don't know me, and we are going to go through our 2020 countdown of all cool things Canvas that we've liked this year. For anybody who's old enough to remember, I don't know if you'll know this, Jonas. I don't know if this was something that you would have ever watched. But on Christmas Day in the UK, we always used to have Christmas Day Top of the Pops, and it was the countdown to what was going to be Christmas number one. And I think they ruin it now because we know what's Christmas number one. Basically, sort of. Well, yeah, it's Mariah Carey this year, isn't it? So
it is again about. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. So she's number one, and some people are a bit disappointed with that this year. But for me, it was excitement of Christmas Day, watching Christmas Top of the Pops, and seeing what was going to be the Christmas number one.
Hey, Mariah Carey is an all-time favorite, so I think we're still pretty happy she's. No, you don't agree?
No, I'm a bit more East 17. I think with Stay Now, that one. You've got to go with that one. Yeah. We promise we are going to talk about Canvas today, and we're going to show you some of the cool tools that have come out this year. But please, if anybody wants to comment, say hello to us today, tell us where you are around the world. Please put that in the comments, and we'll give you some shout outs. We'll say hello to you. There is a couple of things that we need to do first, though, Jonas. I made a bit of a mistake. I did something really, 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 really bad. And what happened was I put in the description for our live stream today that everybody who's watching us would be joined by the JP. Now, we do have to remember that you and we are not the only JP. So the other JP, I do apologize for describing Jonas and myself as the JPs. And what we will do is we will share your wonderful blogs because you are brilliant. And we're going to put those out because you wrote. For people that don't know, the other JP, Joe, who works with us, he is a fantastic writer. And some of the blogs that we have online, we'll share some links to those later on as well, because that links into some of the great things that have happened this year, despite all the challenges that everybody's been going through. There's great work done by educators all over the world, and we've had the opportunity to talk, discuss, chat with people, and we're going to share some of those stories. So I'll give you some of the links for JP's work later on. The other thing
I'm sure he'll forgive you. It's Christmas either way, so he'll forgive you.
Well, as long as I'm on his quiz team later on, I think he'll be happy because if I'm with him, we always generally win. So, he's a smart guy as well. The other thing that we need to do as a disclaimer is we have a 12 Days of Christmas blog written by Sam Blythe as well. Disclaimer is the 12 days of Canvas that we're doing today. That's mine and Jonas's top 12. Sam had her top 12. I'll share the link for that for people can read that. I think it's a bit like the Billboard charts and the UK top 40, maybe. We could look at it that way. But do you know what? Let's get started with the countdown. And when we do a countdown, you have to start at the top and go down. I'll just point that out, Jonas. So we're not going to go to number one first. Okay, don't get too excited. Okay, so number 12. It's fading in. Recent history. Tell us about recent history then, Jonas. What does this mean for people? It was released this year, and I really like it. I tell you what, let's load up a screenshot of it while we go through.
Yeah, and I probably should be saying this because we're only getting started, but it's probably one of my favorites from the ones that we actually have in our top 12. So anticlimax there. But yeah, I think it's a super cool one. So I think we added this 3 or 4 months ago, probably at the start of the school year and the academic years back in September. And it's just so simple, and that's why I really like it. So basically, you get a really nice overview of your last visited pages on Canvas, and that's easily accessible from your navigation menu on the left. I think we all know the pain of working on Canvas or any other website where you're clicking around and suddenly you remember that you visited a page 5, 6, 7 clicks ago, but you don't really know where it was. Now it's super easy. You don't have to use that back button anymore on your browser. Just pull up that recent history list and you get a nice little overview of your most recently visited pages.
I like that. I think as well, you know, when we go out and we talk to students and that side of things, you know, if they are working fully online, like we know and a lot of students are at the moment, ease of navigation and finding things is just so important. You know, I've been in the situation of homeschooling my daughter this year, and you're trying to navigate through different platforms and things along those lines. You know, so things that just make it simple to find things, it's so much easier. And I think, you know, if you're a student where you've got your assignment, but you know that you want to go out and maybe watch a video that your lecturer, you know, has given you, that ability to go back to the assignment, you know, straight away, and you know, and go through the other resources like that. I think that's really useful.
Yeah, and I've used this example a couple of times already. It's super handy as well if you just get started in the morning and you want to have a quick reminder of the things you did the night before on the Canvas. Again, you have that nice list where you can just go through and you can easily click back to a page that you were visiting or a video that you were watching.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of that restart point, isn't it? It makes it easier for you where you were. Cool. Right. So number 12 is a quick and easy one. Let me go through and click through. We forgot something. Seeing as we're doing the 12 days of Christmas.
You prepared something?
I can't do the next bit, but I'll do that in between every go. Something like that, isn't it? Anyway,
beautiful.
So there we go.
Beautiful.
Christmas carols. It's angelic, isn't it? I feel. What was his name? Aled Jones. Walking in the air. That was the one for anybody that can remember that one. So number 11. Let's move on. Let's not go too fast, or we'll finish too early. I'm having fun today. It's going to be one of those days, isn't it? Let's click on the right screen. Here we go. Let's remember we're live on the Intertelly box as well, so let's behave.
Focus.
Okay. Right. Number 11. Course level notifications. Huge. Could have been higher in the list, I think, this year, but that shows that there's some really other good stuff coming out. But tell me about course level notifications then.
Yeah, it's again one just actually like the recent history. Another reason I like recent history is that it applies to all campus users. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a student or a teacher, that's there for you. And it's a bit similar with this one, right? The course notifications, where you can now get really specific about those notifications that you want to receive either via email or via push notifications through the Canvas apps. You can just choose which notifications for which courses you want to receive. For instance, you want to get a daily summary or weekly summary of all updates to all the discussions across all your courses. That you can set on your account, but there might be that one course where you're really interested in what's happening in all those discussions, and you might just want to get a notification each time a new post has been added, and that's something you can set up right now. Again, really cool to have that.
I think so. I was talking with some students at one of the universities in the UK that we work with, and you know, one of the things they were talking about, they're a PhD student, so they're involved in some teaching as well. So that meant that they've got multiple roles within different courses, which is, you know, it's one of the great things of Canvas. You can you can have different roles depending on which course you're in. But what she was saying was, this for her it was a really big thing, because it means that the differences between the courses where she had the different roles, it meant that she was able to be more granular on this, and it meant that she wasn't overloaded, but she was able, for things like the sort of assignments and that side of things, able to get those sort of grades like instantly for the other work that she was doing, and get the feedback, the notifications on feedback and comments, from the course that she was being taught in. But it meant that she was able to turn off the discussions, so she wasn't getting the sort of discussion posts for the course that she was involved in teaching in, which had quite a large number of students. So I love that as well. It is very, very granular and very, very cool.
Yeah, it's just about limiting the number of notifications you get as well, right? Like, we all know we have full email inboxes, but I can probably not even count the number of notifications you get in on your phone every day from all the different apps that you have installed. And I think every way that you can just limit those notifications that you get on your phone to the ones that you really want to see, I think that's really great.
Yep, that's cool. And no, I'm aware next year as well, we're going to have some changes to the notifications as well to even more enhancements around that. So, people are just getting the information that you need. It's definitely too much information overload sometimes. I've got to admit, we've not spoken about your jumper. It is fantastic. It is fantastic.
Yeah, you only see the top part of it, but it actually has a nice Christmas stocking that you can fill up with things, which I probably should have done, considering we'll be doing this for an hour and a half. So I should have put a couple of snacks in there, which I didn't do, unfortunately. But it's nice to have a little bit of a supply close by.
Yeah, seeing as you're from Leuven, I'd expect a nice, triple, double, maybe in there, just for the Christmas party later.
If we would have been doing this a couple of hours later, it's still a bit early, but hey, although in Belgium it's close to lunchtime already, so technically you could say a beer would be appropriate.
Yeah, we're lucky. For everybody online listening to us ramble on, we are very lucky today. Charlotte, who we work with, has arranged a online Christmas extravaganza for us later on today, so we're proper excited. It's almost as good as Christmas Eve, but
it's going to be a good day.
It's going to be a good day. I've got my Christmas jumper on, but don't wear it too often. Maybe once a year, something like that. Surprisingly. But if we're on the clothing, Christmas socks.
Oh, look at that. Christmas socks.
This.
Will you be wearing this on Christmas Eve as well? Will you go all out?
Well, I don't know. I might go. My outfit today is sort of multi-purpose, multifunctional. So, at the minute I'm that jovial Christmas jumper, but underneath here there is a I don't know if anybody can see that. Maybe we need to go for
that's a good thing.
Bigger thing. Yeah, I've got my reindeer on my shirt, and it's a dark navy with the reindeer. So it's much more sort of Christmas Eve dinner party, sort of thing. So easily able to switch.
Business casual.
Yeah, very, very useful. Okay, what number are we on? I've forgotten.
Let's go to number 10.
Number 10. Oh, we're going into the top 10. It gets exciting now. Here we go.
Took a while to get into the top 10.
Okay. It helps if I click on the right screen. Big one.
Right. Big one.
Bulk assignment editing.
Big one, actually only for teachers, right? The other two, they apply to all Canvas users. This one is actually specific to our teachers, to save them a little bit of time when building and updating their Canvas courses. So let's take a look at bulk assignment editing, right?
Yeah, so I believe I need to share my screen with you now, because you're going to do a live demo, which is going to be cool.
Definitely am.
Here we
go. Let's take a look at one of our courses here on Canvas, because it's nice to do some of these things in Canvas as well, and not just having to look at just a screenshot, right?
Yeah.
So what's bulk assignment editing? We all know the time where we have our Canvas course and we might have a large number of assignments in there. before we were updating them like this, right? Imagine we had a due date of the 6th of October.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not right. We want to update that. Before we were doing it like this. We were going to edit, we were changing our due date, selecting a new one, and we were hitting save. And we were doing that over and over for all our assignments, right?
Yeah.
Quite a number of clicks if you want to do that, let's say for 5-6 assignments. Right now, that's a bit easier because we have this edit assignment date option. What this will do, this will actually give us a full overview of all our assignments in the course, and we can easily update those due dates all on one page. Not only the due dates, also the available from and the until dates, so all three can be updated. We can even add a nice little filter. So for instance, if let's take our first 4 assignments, right? So they took place at the start of October. If we just add our filter here, let's go from the 5th to until the 10th of October, and let's hit apply. It's immediately going to select those assignments that we want to update. We get this nice little tick in front of the assignment title, and we can go ahead and start changing those due dates. So it's quite nice, and good to mention that one as well. If we have assignments that were assigned to specific students or to specific sections, we can see that breakdown here as well, and we can change them for specific sections.
That is cool. That it just speeds everything up, I think, doesn't it? And we do end up with those situations. Maybe we have to pivot. Things have changed. Things get pushed back. I think back to, well, maybe Canvas. Maybe this isn't the best example. I was going to talk about snow days when I used to be a teacher, and I think we need another apology here, actually, Jonas, as well. We do need to apologise to every student that uses Canvas, because I believe we've probably ended snow days for students with the fact that we can just go online. So we apologise, students, but I'm sure, if your teachers are nice, you can still go out sledging in the snow, snowball fights, and then, work asynchronously. It's something that we promote. When things do happen, and we're very aware that they happen, that ability to shift things, or when you copy your course over from one academic year to the other, you can adjust the dates. But it may well be that, if you've copied it over and you do make a mistake yourself, you forgot it was a staff training day and you need to start a day later, or something along those lines, or we get a new national holiday for some reason or something, you get that ability to shift everything, which I think is really, really good. That's very cool.
And even if you don't want to change any dates, it's nice just to get that full overview nicely organized on one page, right? If you just want that overview of all the assignments you have in your course, kind of when you're structuring everything, it's nice to have that on one page with a clear overview.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, one of the things that you're looking at there, that's, that ability to sort of just see everything, make sure the dates are in the right order, you've got the right journey for the students, just makes life so much easier, isn't it, when you're taking them through those assignment resources. Cool. Let's go back. So let's switch back. So that's bulk assignment editing.
That was number 10.
That was number 10. Oh, please, nobody, hopefully marketing's not watching this. I realized I've not used the proper fonts, and hopefully they won't tell me off for not branding appropriately. It is Christmas, they'll let me off.
You can do something crazy.
Okay, let's go. So number 9, here it comes. Better sharing. It's Christmas, isn't it? We should
share as much as we can.
We could do. I am wondering, we've not had any comments yet, although we've got quite a few people watching. I'm hoping, if you're listening, you want to tell us where you are around the world, so we know before we jump into better sharing. Put your comments on for us, and let's see who's watching us today. But better sharing. I think we're going to do this as a
look at that one.
A demo, aren't we?
Yeah, of course. Let's take a look at that one.
The reason that we're doing that is because I forgot to do a screenshot for it. So I need you to demo it.
Okay, we are all prepared. Let's take a look. So better sharing. This one goes back, trying to think, it's probably more than half a year. I think it's actually the start of this year that we introduced kind of better ways to share content on Canvas. Kind of two sides to this one. There are situations where you're building your own course, and again, this one is actually mainly aimed at teachers, right? You're building your course and you want to reuse some of your material from course A in course B. Again, everyone knows kind of the way that you can import content from one course to the other through the course settings, many options that you have there, but sometimes you just want to keep it nice and simple, and object one, you want to have it in another course and it doesn't need to change in any other way. So right now, let's look at this from the modules page, right? We can just select one discussion that we have here, and we can select this copy to option. Nice and easy. We can start typing the name of any course that we are enrolled in as a teacher, as a designer. We select it and we hit copy, and the discussion will appear in that course a couple of seconds later.
That's cool.
That's really cool, right? What's also very cool, and this is a bit newer, is that we can do this with a full module. So even if we build a module with many links, many discussions, wiki pages, assignments, whatever you can think of, we can copy that module to our other course, which is quite cool.
That's cool. Talk to me about send to then above there.
Send to. That is the second option, right? So this is probably even cooler, because this is where we're really talking about ways to share course content that you've built as a teacher, right? With copy to, we're just copying it to one of our other courses. With sending it, we're not sending it to any course, but we're sending it to other users, other colleagues, other teachers that might want to use that course content that you've built. So again, super easy, right? You saw what I did. I just selected that send to option. Next thing I need to do is just type the name of one of my wonderful colleagues, just a very random name.
Handsome one there.
Yeah, nice looking picture there. We just select the name or names, because we can add some more names to this list as well, as you can tell. Another very handsome colleague there. And we can just hit the send button, and we're starting to share that content to those users, to our colleagues.
That's cool. Right? You know, it is nice. I think of that, you know, especially sort of, you know, because teachers are sometimes mean and they give assessments just before Christmas. We do that. I think one of the ideas is, you know, I think back to, you know, sort of the teaching days, that ability to maybe create an assignment or an assessment and be able to share that then with the other teachers within your department to say, hey, everybody, here's the final assessment for this year for all of our students in this year group or on this program. You know, to be able to send that out and then people have that within their courses is really, really nice. It's a great great tool.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It just makes people's life easier, doesn't it? Yeah, it's just
it does. And there are reasons where you might just want to throw it into Canvas Commons, right, and make it available to lots and lots of people. But there are those situations where it just applies to one other colleague, right, and there's no reason to make it available in Canvas Commons. And actually, let's take a quick look, right, because I just sent that module to you. You might be surprised, but we actually prepared this a little bit. And if we take it from the other perspective, if I receive some content from a colleague, it doesn't appear in any of my courses straight away. It kind of goes into a zone or a bucket where you can review that content before you add it to your courses. So you can still moderate it a little bit, take a look, take a really good, take a decision if you want to use it in your courses. So if you go to this shared content link, that's the page that John shared with me yesterday, and I can preview that one.
Can't remember doing that. But well prepared, Jonas. Thank you.
And as you can tell, you invested a lot of time and effort into developing this page. Added lots of content to it, which is good to see. But yeah, I can preview that page, and then if I'm happy to use that one, I can then decide to import it into one of my courses. And this looks very similar to copying content over to one of my other courses. So I just select the course, I hit import. I can even already decide on which module I want to add that page, so I don't have to go to the course afterwards to start reorganizing things. I can already choose where I want that page to appear to my students.
Yeah.
I just hit import and we're all set.
Cool. Awesome. Fair enough. I think this highlights it. We talk about it at this time of year around Christmas and things like that. But I suppose, any time of year between teachers sort of sharing and that sort of altruistic behaviour. And, with this time of year, it probably highlights the point that, it's not about sort of product placement and, content and that type of thing and shiny things. It's about the behaviour of people. So, this was actually a gift for me. So Steve and I gave this to me, so we'll go with that one. And I promise it is water that's in there as well.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
I've not started early. So that was number 9. Is there anything else on shit? No, we're good there, right?
That's about it, I would say. Yeah, we can have a look what we have on for number 8.
Number 8. There we go. Studio collections. I think we're doing this one with a screenshot, aren't we? Rather than going in to talk about this. Yeah. So, studio collections. I need to share my screen.
Oh, master of ceremony.
There we go. So another handsome teacher on there again. Look. Yeah, very, very, very nice. So, Studio, one of those products that that plugs into Canvas that we offer as well. So some institutions don't use Studio, but a lot of our institutions that we work with are using our video platform Studio. So talk to me about this release of Studio collections, what that means, why is that good for sort of institutions and teachers and students?
Yeah, and before going into that, I think you made a really good point about institutions really leveraging Studio even more over the last few months. Right, and one of my institutions I was speaking with a couple of months ago actually mentioned that Studio was a lifesaver for their spring term, because obviously they had to switch to online teaching over a weekend almost, right? And just by having the option to focus on students submitting videos of their work or videos of presentations that they normally would be doing in class has been really amazing for them. Also, the option to just have that engagement through videos. I think those of us that use Canvas Studio quite often, you have the video quizzing that you can add to it. You have the discussions which you can add to specific points in the video. Or the comments you can add to specific points in the video. Those are just things that really help with keeping people engaged with the content.
I love Studio. I've got to admit, what I love about it is the different things that I've seen other teachers and people do. So with some of the institutions that we work with, we think of, okay, let's put a video that explains some content. And what we can do is we can stop for questions so that they can check their knowledge. Great, fantastic teaching tool. I get that. But then what I'm seeing is people going, well, actually what we'll do is we'll get students to submit videos within Studio for things like their performances, sort of the soft skills within executive education and that side of things. And then being able to sort of accumulate those videos together and share them and basically have discussion within the video. So it's actually what was, in so many different circumstances, what was my behavior like? How did I deliver that? So I've seen people using it for business schools with conflict management. So, how under these circumstances, and so those sort of role plays and things like that, but with as well, things like drama, music, so many opportunities there. It is fantastic. But I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. Tell me about collections.
We'll talk about collections. And again, it kind of links back to what we were talking about just before with the better sharing. Part of collections is about sharing. It's about sharing and it's about organizing your videos. It's nice and easy, right? Collection, you imagine you have a good 10 videos in your Canvas Studio account. And half of those videos are about one topic. They are about music. What you can now do is you create a collection, you move your 5 music videos into that collection, and they're nicely organized. In addition to that, you can also start sharing that collection with other Canvas Studio users. So again, that sharing element is coming back in Canvas Studio, because it's so easy, right, to share things that you have recorded, videos that you have used in your courses, and that have gone down very well with your students.
Yeah. It's great. It's just that organization of it, isn't it? You can put a group of videos together. Like you say, based on topic for your individual course, and then it's easy for you to share sort of the videos that are relevant to that group of people, much more easily. So simple tool, and all the things we're talking about today are, ultimately a lot of these are the new releases that have come this year. So Sid, who we work with in product, he has had the feedback from institutions, from our teams, has been able to work with product globally, and there's so many sort of new features that have made teachers' lives easier in difficult situations. Okay, we will move on. I see actually Mohammed is asking a question about his access to the Facebook app. Thanks for the question, Mohammed. What I'd recommend doing is, if you're in Canvas, you can go to support, and there's a help feature, and that means that a ticket can come through ultimately to Canvas. We should mention the Canvas support team, working super hard this year with just mind-blowing numbers of people accessing Canvas. So what we can do is, the support are there to help people, so we can raise tickets with them, and sort of the individual sort of issues of logging in and things along those lines. They can support you through that. Let's move on to our next one. I keep clicking on the wrong
screen. Right?
We're on to number 7. There we go. Submission types, not really a completely new thing, but we decided to demo this today and put this in. So I'm going to go and let you share your screen again, Jonas.
Let's take a quick look, right?
Yeah, so there we go. So submission types, when we're talking about this, we've decided to put these in into the top 12 for our countdown. Let's have a talk about this.
There we go. Let's have a look at all the options we have right here.
So there we go. So for me, this is my favorite button within Canvas. That sounds really strange and a little bit weird, of how can you have a favorite button? But as an educator, as a teacher, this for me was my opportunity to redefine and do so many things to enhance sort of the learning opportunities of my students. We call this assignments, and we often think of that as assessment, formal assessment as we go through. For me, these are activities. These are the learning activities we can give to students, and I was pretty good with chalk and talk and explaining things. But when I taught with Canvas, this button was just brilliant, because I used to be able to get the students to think, design their learning themselves, and go in and do so many things. So I'll hand over to you, because I'm all excited about it now. Go on, demo the submission types.
Yeah, no, it is pretty cool, right? And we were looking at it just before. Online is definitely the one that we've all been using very often, and even more over the last couple of months, right? And that just gives us a kind of a whole range of options of ways that students can submit their assignment or whatever they need to submit, right? Because as you just mentioned, you can take a much broader perspective than just it being an assignment to achieve a certain grade. Text entry is a fun one to talk about, because I have a feeling we'll come back to that one in a little bit as well. But text entry, just nice and easy, right? You don't have to prepare anything. Students are presented with an editor on Canvas, and they can start creating their content within the assignments. And as soon as they are ready, they can hit submit, and all set. that editor gives them all the options you would expect, right? Text, images, videos, video recordings. You don't even have to have anything prepared. You can just record your video straight into the editor and start uploading it.
I think that's great, actually. You know, it's a combination of, it's not just one submission type. It's not a Word, you know, just text. It is, although it says text entry, it brings so many other things in there. And, you know, because yes, we'll go to it later, but things like, you know, the studio videos we've spoken before, you know, that ability for students to put in video and text for their submission is, yeah, it's just great.
Yeah, so that's the text entry. Then the next one is our URLs. Again, one that has been used more and more lately, I would say, just because it's so easy to use, right? In this case, students get a small field where they can just copy paste the URL they are submitting, and they hit the submit button, and they are all set. One of the ways that we've seen this one being used lately is with Folio, the ePortfolio tool within Portfolium, where you can add your different projects that you're working on. And as part of an assignment, you might just need to hand in one of those projects to get some feedback from a teacher, from your mentor. You just generate that share link from your Folio project. You copy paste that one into the URL field on Canvas, and you hit submit, and you're all done.
Folio, for people that aren't aware, it's a new ePortfolio tool that we're offering out. So as there's a free part to it for sort of current, you know, Canvas customers. You know, I'm aware, you know, Jonas is a customer success manager. So if you are a customer and you've not looked at Folio yet, you know, that's something that you can talk through at your institution with the, you know, the Canvas administrators, and then they can talk to the customer success manager within their meetings to get Folio turned on. If you didn't see it a few weeks ago, another great colleague of ours, Graham Raddings, another Lincolnshire boy, just like me, he came on to a live stream with us, and he went through Folio, and he did demonstrate the website URL within there. So there is a video specifically about Folio that we delivered, and I'm aware that you know, Mark Booth has been running some live streams. Well, he runs live streams all the time, fantastic ones as well from North America. And I think he's got one this afternoon, but there was one recently that he did with Sam on Folio as well. So there's a couple of videos within the YouTube channel. Have a look at those about Folio. And if you want to talk to your customer success manager or talk to your admin at your institution, and we can get that switched on for you. Lovely tool, but website URLs, fantastic. Cool.
Yeah, and nice one actually to add the other side of the website URL from a teacher perspective is the moment a student actually submits that URL, a screenshot is taken of that URL at that time, and that screenshot is also submitted automatically as part of the student submission. So basically, if you're the teacher receiving the submission, you'll have that screenshot of what the website looked at the time of submission, and then you also have the URL to go and visit the most recent version. Just cool. Super easy as a teacher. Once you start adding feedback, right, you don't necessarily have to switch between tabs in your browser to look at the most recent version of the website. That screenshot might actually be enough to give you feedback on.
Cool.
It's quite nice.
Next one's a big one, isn't it?
Next one, media recordings. We've talked a lot about videos already, I think, but it's being used so often these days. And again, the main difference between our text entry, where we mentioned you can actually record videos, and the media recordings is that this one is fully focused on media recordings, right?
Yeah.
With the text entry, you can add videos, you can add a bit of text, you can add some images, you can build something that is a little bit more. But sometimes the only thing you need to do is either submit an audio or video recording for the assignment, right? And that's when you want to use this one. Again, you have the two options, right? If you already have recorded your video and you have it saved on your computer, you can just upload it. But if you haven't done that, you just open your laptop, you start recording your video. When you're ready, you hit submit, and you're all done.
Yeah, and I think we'll talk about this later on as well, but the ability to do that from your mobile device as well is quite cool. I was talking to a secondary K-12 teacher in Sweden, and she was an English teacher. And one of the things that she said was this button had such an impact on her students. And the reason behind that was because some of the students within her class were not as confident about standing up in class and speaking, in a second language. And so what she was able to do was give them the opportunity to practice basically at home, with basically, submitting a media audio recording. And then she was able to give them feedback in that sort of safer space for them. And then basically she saw their confidence grow, and where they would normally not want to stand up in class and talk in another language, they were willing to, they were able to do that. So, it's just really nice when you hear stories like that from people telling you. And so media recordings, I love it. I used to get students to make their own videos and things, and it was just awesome looking at them being so creative with it. And, and I was a science teacher, so getting them to make animations and videos and upload them as media, it was just cool. It took a bit of extra time, but, once they learned the tools, you just build in those skills. So I like that one.
Yeah, another way I've seen this one being used at business schools or even at universities is in courses like where students need to practice certain skills. It can be giving feedback to each other or having difficult conversations with each other. You can just, as you mentioned, you put your phone there or your iPad there. And these days, it's of course a little harder to be in the same room. Hopefully, we'll get there back in a couple of months. But you just put your phone there, you aim it at the two of you, you do your role play, and you hit submit. And that's it. And you don't need any video editing software or anything. It's nice and easy. You hit record, you do your thing, you hit submit, and you're done.
Yeah, it's cool. It's great. One of the universities we've worked with in Rotterdam, their architecture and the sort of the social housing area, weekly assignment was basically media recordings of going out around the city or to other places within the Netherlands and looking at sort of the social housing, the architecture, the layout, the way that it worked, and basically having a discussion using the media recording on that and submitting that. And it was just so easy for them to do, whilst they're out in the field. Awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
And since you can keep on resubmitting, you're building that collection of videos, right, around the same topic, which is really great.
Yeah, definitely.
Alrighty, we have one left, and that's our file uploads one. Probably one of the one that's the most popular in some way, because it allows you to basically upload any file that you have prepared to Canvas. There's no restriction on whatever file type you want to submit. Any file type will be accepted in general, except for cases where this option is used, because there is the option to say, okay, me as a teacher, I only want to receive PDF documents or Word documents. Might be very good reasons for that. Schools or institutions, they might have some more tools plugged into Canvas that might check submissions for similarity purposes. And some of those tools, they need specific file formats, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking about that. Another reason behind it actually is the peer review. We're talking about submission types, but with peer review. So if students are using different applications for maybe writing their text, the ability to restrict that to PDFs mean that the other student who's on another device basically gets a peer review. They get a document that they can actually view because, maybe one of them's on Windows, one's on Mac, and they're using different text editing tools, based on the what they've got. That is another reason for restricting them there, which is quite a cool one. So it's a nice feature to have. Yeah, but I love the fact it's open as well. I used to get Scratch files. I said I taught science. I used to teach IT as well sometimes, and we used to do Scratch. So get the students to build things like Pac-Man games and stuff like that for the coding, so they could learn basic coding early on. And although the Scratch file, I wouldn't see the game that they made in Canvas, I had the files in one place, which meant that I could then ultimately download, run them, see who'd submitted, give them feedback where that file was, and the student could go back in, check that file, and see the feedback linked to it. So really, really cool feature.
Nice. And I think the last thing we should mention about this is you can already see it on the screen. I have all 4 options ticked right now because it's about giving students options, right? It's not like you can only select text entry or only media recordings. You can take as many as apply to the assignment that you have been you've created, because you might want to give students the option of either using the text entry or uploading a file they've created previously. So you can go wild.
Cool. Yeah. Students love it. Opportunity to do different things. And I think it's like we've got there underneath, unlimited submission attempts, and the fact that, they can build that dialogue up and have that repeated side of it as well. Okay. So where are we going next? We need to switch screens again.
We're going to number 6, I believe. Yeah.
Number 6. I'm getting better.
You should have done maybe a countdown from 30, right? Then you would have been really good by the time we got to.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to get past that bit. Oh no, it's not that. No, nearly. New analytics.
Yes.
I got to talk about this at CanvasCon. I've got this really, really strong belief of you don't measure something for no action from it afterwards. And I think, in some education institutions, we do look at measuring student progress. And actually what we need to do is think about, okay, if a kid's falling in the river, we've got to go back upstream and work out why they keep falling in and stop that from happening. And so for me, it's all well and good having analytics, but you've got to do something with them, and there's got to be a reason, to actually do it. There's no, the only useful data is data that you can actually use. So let's go back to your screen and let's talk about new analytics. And let's think about how this helps teachers, especially with working with students remotely. We've had in the news in the UK, there's conversations about secondary schools in the UK going back to being remote in the new year. So there's more online. We've obviously seen that in universities, schools all over the world. So let's talk about new analytics, the changes that we've made this year, and the cool features that will help teachers with their students.
Yeah, and I think it's really that point that you made just now, where yes, we need analytics because we want to see what's happening within the course that you created, but it's all about that next step, right? It's what do you want to do with once you have that information? Like, what can you do? What action can you take based on those analytics? And that has been such a huge focus of the new analytics tool. So since you were speaking about this at CanvasCon Online just about 2 months ago, what's the thing that you like the most?
So for me, the thing that I like the most is message students. It's just that button being where I need it. I don't look at the analytics and go, right, okay, now I need to download a spreadsheet, go out into another system, send a message to a student. Oh, now I've got to filter through the data and work out which students I need to message to. All right, now I've got 6 students and I need to copy and paste basically my email that I'm going to send to them. This button saves hours. It saves hours and hours of time, and I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And we have a couple of options there, right? So this one, let me go one step back. The main page we were looking at is all about the grades in our course. Obviously, if we want to message students from this page, it's going to be about their scores on assignments. And there we have a couple of options. We can message specific students depending on the score they achieved. But we can also target those students that might be missing some assignments. And for whatever reason that is, right, we can decide to only message those students or students who have submitted late, and we want to give them a really targeted message. Because again, this comes back to what was it, our number 11, the notification preferences. We mentioned the fact that we're all getting so many notifications. This also helps with that, right? Let's only message those students who need to receive the message, and let's only receive messages that really apply to what we're doing. And let's try to get rid of those messages that are sent in bulk to a large population where only half of them actually have any interest in that message.
Yeah, and when we've talked about through those messaging things, we often talk about sort of targeting students that need the additional support. I quite like the score range where you go for that where they've done really well, because if you have got some of those students that have improved, you know, positive feedback is hugely valuable to them. And you know, and to turn out, and I know it's not based all about sort of, you know, getting the highest grades, but if you do see some students and you're looking at that, and you know, you got the ability to look and you see that that student's one that maybe in the past wasn't doing too great, and they've got those improvements, and the visuals that you see on the analytics, because you can look at individual students, you can see maybe some progression and some improvement. You know, that side of things I think is really good as well, that you can do the positive feedback.
Yeah. And same thing you can do with the weekly online activity, right? So if we move away from the scores bit and really look at what students are doing within the courses, we can start targeting those students. And you can take the same idea, right? We can look at students who viewed certain things, who have participated. And you can again target those students who submitted early or who submitted on time, and really give that positive reinforcement.
Yeah, and I think it's the thing, isn't it? You know, when we talk about the participations and looking at things, if you have got things like key resources where you know that an assessment's coming up and you've got a resource which gives them, I don't know, notes, guidance on the structure of the exam or something along those lines, or it's at the beginning of the course on, these are the expectations on you, please read this. You've got that ability to pick individual items. It even works for the you know, the conferences, on whether they've attended an online conference. You can message them and say, hey, you didn't access this this conference. It's just easy. It's at your fingertips, isn't it? And you know, such a useful tool.
Yeah, or you might have a teacher might have a guest speaker during the next class, right? And you have set up a discussion beforehand just to gather some questions for that guest speaker. It's such an easy way just to, the day before, target those students who have not added their questions, and just send them a quick reminder saying, hey, we have a guest speaker tomorrow. Don't forget to add your questions to our discussion. And again, so easy. We just select our discussion. Let's take this one. We look at the ones that didn't participate, just select our discussion again. And immediately we're adding that filter, right? In total, we have 9 students in this course. 5 of them have not participated in this discussion. So it's only those 5 students that will message.
Yeah.
Again, we can get a list of them if we want to, but it's really about that targeted messaging.
Yeah, it is. And if you know that one of those students doesn't need that message, you know, there's been some sort of other reasons and stuff, you've got that ability to remove them, which is really, really cool.
And the ability to reset it, because you might just click that button by accident, right? The moment you remove some names, you can just go back to your initial starting point.
Let's, conscious of, we're getting into massive discussions, which are great, and we've still got 5 going down. Let's talk about the new stuff though, and there is that big green new button at the top of there as well on analytics. So these were released this year as well in response to organizations, feedback from organizations and teachers about switching to online learning, students, student well-being, student engagement whilst having to work remotely. So this came from a direct request from, you know, the customer base, you know, the Canvas community. So can you just talk us through sort of these reports, please, Jonas?
Yeah, the cool thing is that there are always reasons why it's super handy to have your analytics within Canvas, but once in a while you just want them in an Excel file, right? And that's what these reports allow you to do. 5 reports that give you all the information you need. Again, we spoke a little bit about students who might be missing an assignment or who submitted late. If you need a list of those students, you can just pull that from Canvas. You can get a natural preview of what that report looks like. So you can, before you generate it, you can already decide, okay, is this the report that I need? So you don't waste any time with generating reports, opening them in Excel, going through the different columns and actually realizing, okay, this report doesn't have the information I want to add, information I need.
Yeah.
So you have that preview. Same thing, a class roster. Sometimes you just want to have that list of students that are enrolled in your course. So you can get that. And you also get a nice overview of course activity, where you can even add a couple of filters to it. So you could just pull a report and for a specific section, for a specific date, and you can start looking at what course content was used on that specific day in my course. Again, it comes back to, and it's similar with the analytics we have right here, right? You might invest lots and lots of time building your course or building a specific resource on your course, but you will never know if students are actually using it. These analytics will allow you to find out. Because again, through that messaging option, if we quickly go back there, you can actually start checking specific resources and whether or not students have viewed them. So it helps you with determining which resources that you've developed are super popular with students and are really being used, and which resources you might invest lots of time in, but don't add that much value to the course for whatever reason that might be. And it's the first step is getting that data right, and then the next step is looking at it and deciding what action you can take to improve it or to make a change.
We missed something on our list for putting it in, which sort of does tie in with this, with that ability to download those CSVs. We've just thought one of the new releases we had recently was the ability to put students into groups via importing a CSV file. And so in the people page for the groups now, there's that ability also to download.
Let's quickly go there. Let's go off script for a second.
So we can do it. It's our day. we can get away with things. We often do. So
there we go. Let's make a new group. This is the one you're talking about, right?
Yeah, that import feature. And if you click on that button, what you do is you get the ability to download the course roster there as well. I know at the moment when we're talking about working online, it's a little thing. I have actually, I've spoken to some teachers who wanted to be able to put their course groups onto like a notice board within their classroom, or or for certain assignments when they knew students were in, they also wanted to have that physical sort of data for them as well. So being able to download the course roster, if they're already in groups, it will give you which group the students are in, and if they're not in groups, you can push the CSV in to actually put them into the groups. If you've got a really large course, or you've maybe got a student information system with grouping on there, it just makes life a lot easier. So that was another new release this year that I think we should actually mention.
Yeah, good call.
Cool. Let's move on. I think we've done that, so I'm going to go back to
we're going to the top 5, right? Yeah,
we're going into the top 5. Let me actually just quickly do this. What I'll do is I'll post a comment so people can click on it. But if we have been talking about the 12 days of Canvas according to Jonas and Jonathan, but I'm going to put some blog post out there as well for Sam Blythe, who we work with. She released a blog recently about some of the great information she's found out from customers. So I've put that in the comments, and I will also just say that this website, Instructure.com, Canvas, if you want the UK version of that, you can go there, but in the top left-hand corner, if you do go to that website, you'll be able to choose your region and get loads of detail, resources, blogs, stories from other customers. That's all there. So let's move on.
Let's do it. Number 5.
Seeing as I've done that, the people at Canvas, if we're naming you, showing you resources, we do expect motivosity, please. So we'll just say that. Okay, let's talk about some other people's software then. A couple of small companies, Microsoft and Google. We're going to do this one with a screenshot. But what's happened this year with these then, Jonas? What's what was sort of the big thing here? We're doing this with the screenshot. Let's explain this, why we put this in the top 12.
Yeah, exactly. And we're highlighting Teams and Google, but there are actually a couple of other providers that have also extended their
Yeah,
integrations with Canvas for the obvious reasons, right? The cool thing about the Microsoft Teams one and the Google Hangouts one, and those two that are
yeah,
currently in Canvas, those were built over, I believe, 48 hours. Those were built
yeah,
one weekend in March, when on Friday it became very clear that teaching would need to take place in a very different way on Monday. Um, and people, engineers, just started working on that. Product team started working on this on Friday, and by Sunday night, Monday morning, 2 integrations were suddenly available on Canvas that weren't there a week before, a couple of days before. Teams is being widely used by so many institutions, and it's so easy now, right? If you have the integration with Teams in your Canvas course, you click the button, you log into your Microsoft Teams account the very first time. But once you've done that, you just generate a Teams URL, which appears in the text editor and which you can then distribute across your whole course, across all students enrolled. Whether you want to do that as part of an assignment, a discussion, an announcement, a calendar event, doesn't really matter. Everywhere where you see that text editor, you'll have the option to do that. And that's
it's cool.
Yeah, and that's very similar for the Google Hangouts one, right? Some institutions are fully using all the Google Suite tools, and they'll focus on using Google Hangouts. And it's very similar with that LTI, right? With that app, it makes it so easy to get started with Google Hangouts from Canvas.
Yeah, and it is the thing, is that we've spoken about those two and how quickly, and the reason we put them in was just, it was how quickly they were created and people got together because they understood the situation, and education has to keep going. It's just it's just fundamental to everything. It's just so important, and so for that to be spun up so quickly, and
That's
we're very we're aware that institutions are using the different tools. There are LTIs to the other video conferencing tools as well to get people connected, but being able to talk to somebody and see them and check they're okay in these in the circumstances we've had is huge. So that was great work, top work to the developers there.
Yeah, and as we all know, there's much more to come when it comes to Microsoft Teams in 2021.
Exactly.
So starting point.
Yeah. If you're a Microsoft school, college, university, there are announcements that were made at CanvasCon, if you had the opportunity to attend there, and so there's videos about Microsoft as well that you can watch on, if you just search CanvasCon. InstructureCon 2020. It was InstructureCon online.
CanvasCon online.
CanvasCon online. CanvasCon. Listen to Jonas. Listen to Jonas. Okay.
It's been 2 months.
Yeah. Here we go. So
number 4.
There we go. The new RCE. So RCE stands for Rich Content Editor. Let's put in a caveat here. This is going to be a change taking place early in the new year. There's been notifications going out to organizations that we are switching with the Rich Content Editor. If you were to go to community.canvaslms.com, there's guides on what this will be like. So there's lots of things that you can use if you do need to communicate with staff that there is going to be a change to the new Rich Content Editor. I like it. I think it's very cool, and it's got some new features that have been added to it. Institutions have been able to switch this on for quite a while and use this and test this, but it's very, very nice. So I'm going to hand back over to Jonas to tell us all the cool things about the new Rich Content Editor.
Yeah, and so some of you might already been using this for quite some time. If you aren't, you will be by 16th of January at the very latest, because that's the kind of the date that we're retiring the old RCE. And we'll move forward with the new one, right? That's the one that is on our screen right now. So it doesn't look like a drastic change, right? It's your content editor that you're used to using on Canvas. Yes, some buttons look a little bit different. They might be in a slightly different order, but it's still a really great content editor that you're getting with some nice new features that weren't available in the previous one. One of them being that you can now use a drag and drop when adding images and videos to the content editor, which is super easy. You don't have to start clicking through loads of folders. If you already have your Finder window or your Explorer window open on your computer, you can just drag and drop that file straight into the editor. Save quite some time.
Sweet, nice, makes it a lot easier. That's cool. What else have we got that's new then?
So what you definitely have noticed if you use the old editor, that is that you are not seeing that pane on the right-hand side of the screen. There used to be a toolbar on the right-hand side that allowed you to pull in links or assignments, discussions, anything you've added to Canvas or to add your files. That's gone, and that only appears if you really need it, which means we now have a much bigger editor that we can work with. And then if we want to start adding our course links, for instance, we can pull up that window.
Cool.
We can go to our links. Let's say we created an assignment that we want to link to. There we go. We can just select that one and we can drop it in the editor just like we used to. What's also very nice, and this is still quite new, is that we can now search for specific links in our course. If we then open up our list here again, it will filter on the keywords that we've been entering. It's the same for links, but so it's the same if we will be looking for certain files in our course, right?
It's really useful. I know because Canvas has got this flexibility and people work in different ways. You know, sometimes people are running quite short courses for maybe, you know, I do some sort of online exec ed ones, and it's maybe for 6 weeks that we're running with things, you know, but we also have other sort of organizations where they're running courses, you know, that last for maybe 2 years. You know, if we think of A levels within the UK, or, you know, when people are doing sort of certain courses at university where they need access to the materials for a long time, you know, so sometimes they can build up quite a large amount of content. So I really like that in terms of that ability to filter through and search for specific resources. And put the links where you need them. It's just me, you know, it is just that simple tip, isn't it? You know, if you're going to talk about a resource or something, put a link to it. It just helps people. Yeah, it just does help people.
Yeah, and it's those little things that have changed, right? It's the same thing if you are building a page or you're building an assignment on Canvas and you know you'll have to add quite some content to it. It sometimes helps just to have more space, right? Now there's even that full screen option where you have your editor take over your full screen, and it makes it so much easier. It's like you're working in Microsoft Word, right, or in Google Docs, where you just have access to your toolbar and you can pull in all content that you want to.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Obviously, we've spoken about sort of Google, Microsoft LTI tools for people who aren't aware of what LTIs are, learning tools interoperability. I think I said that correctly. Plugins, bring everything into one place so people don't have to log into multiple systems and try and work out where they're going. You know, this is a platform. This is the Canvas learning platform. Let's put your other things onto the platform, onto the stage. We allow that to happen with plugins. Let's talk about the new icon and the new features around plugins.
Yeah, it's those, right? So the cool thing now is that as an institution, you can choose 2 LTIs or 2 external apps that you know your users are using a lot, and you can have those appear in the toolbar straight away. So right here, we just selected Canvas Studio. So you can select up to 2. You can just select one if you want to, and really give that logo or give that icon a prominent place in the toolbar.
Yeah.
Then we have our apps link, which I think is quite cool, because if we click on this one, we'll find all of our full list of apps that are available on Canvas. The really cool thing is, if I would have used, let's say, was it the YouTube app quite recently on this course, I would actually have a drop-down menu that appears right here with my 5 most recently used apps. And obviously that drop-down menu, it's going to be different for everyone, right? It's really based on the last 5 apps that you've been using. So if you take those 5 plus the 2 that you have in your toolbar, in most cases, you will not even need this full list of apps, because your 7 most recently used, or your 7 most used apps are so easily accessible.
Yeah, and It's just great, isn't it? I think with things like the LTIs, and and people sometimes don't understand why we need them, because yeah, you can do embed codes, or you can get a link and copy and paste the URL. Yes, you can do that. But the thing is, if you're using the LTI tools, a really good example of this is they're designed then to embed within the content. So if you go for YouTube, you don't get the adverts and all the links afterwards. So you know that your students are going to watch the video on, I don't know, DNA translation, rather than watching a video of somebody walking into a lamppost whilst on their mobile phone. It's that side of things, that it's just the advantages. It gives them what they need where they need it. So cool feature. Anything else we've missed on the new rich content editor? I'm trying to think.
Last one, which is quite cool and which is completely new as well. And I think we all know the situation, or the situations where we're adding a lot of content to a page on Canvas, and then by mistake we navigate away from the page, and we have a slight panic for 2-3 seconds because we spend an hour building a page and all that work has gone to waste. That will not be the case anymore. So the new editor has an auto-save functionality, which means if you just go back to your editor after you left the page, you'll see a pop-up, and you'll have the option to just restore the content that you just added.
Sweet.
Cool.
Very, very nice.
Nice gift there.
That is a good one. It's coming. It will be, next year, what did we say, January the 16th?
January 16th is that's the deadline. So some of you might already been using it. Others will start using it over the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. Let's go through. Let's go back. So we're into the top three. Top three, and we've got 20 minutes for these, and we can take some questions and chat about things afterwards. So number 3. Just to annoy people, we'll go with that one. Here we go. Okay, so at number 3 is, wrong screen. 3 mobile apps, and there are 3 mobile apps that we're going to mention. So we won't go messing around with cables and trying to connect to the mobile apps for things whilst we're streaming. We did play this one safe today. But tell us about the new stuff with the mobile apps, and let's tell everybody about the mobile apps then.
Yeah, so you mentioned it already, 3 apps, right? 1 for students, 1 for teachers, and 1 which is called the Canvas Parent app, but which we've seen people use it for different scenarios, right? I think you worked with an institution who's kind of using it as more as a mentoring app. Yeah.
So although the person who's got it says parent app on it for them. If you imagine I'm in a I've got business students, or I've got students going out on work placements within a college or something along those lines, or actually I work in a pastoral role within a school. A lot of institutions we work with all over Europe, Middle East, Africa, they have people who are responsible for the well-being of the students, and certain students who are maybe identified. What we can do is we can connect basically the account of the mentor with that of the students, so they can sort of go into the app and basically just check the progress, give them some comments, just make sure that our students, submitting things, doing things okay. So they've got those sort of triggers to sort of reach out to them. So yeah, we have some people using the parent app for that mentor side of it, although we have some people using the teacher app as a mentor thing as well. They just have a different role based on the teacher. So yeah, it's not just about that dialogue between teacher and student. So, I like that ability. And, it is, I think back for me, I when I was a teacher, I was head of 2 academic years for a while. And, when you're walking down the corridor and sometimes you did see the students, you're like, hey, I need to talk to you. You've not handed in your homework or something, so-and-so, the other teacher has told me. The student, oh yeah, I did hand it in. With this, to be able to get your phone out and say, well, actually, it's not coming in here. I can see you've not submitted it. So, really, really useful if we are sort of supporting students in that way.
Yeah, and I think one of the coolest things we've done this year with the apps, and it applies to all apps, right, is the QR code to log in. So before and still, you can decide the first time you use one of the Canvas apps, you search for the name of your institution. You'll then send to the login page. You enter your username, which can be your student ID, your email address. You enter your password, and you're logged into the app. Quite a number of clicks. Can take a little bit of time as well, hopefully, because hopefully all of us have quite secure passwords, which include lowercase, uppercase, special characters, numbers, etc. So it can take quite some time to enter those passwords on a mobile device, right? All of that is not necessary if you use the QR code. So the idea is we're all already logged into Canvas on our laptop and our computers. So what you do is you open up Canvas, you open up that QR code page that you have on your screen. We take our phone, we open the Canvas app, and we just scan that QR code. And within 1 or 2 seconds, we are logged in. So we don't need to select our institution, no usernames, no passwords. We're just logged into the app straight away within a matter of seconds.
Cool. And then this is optional, isn't it, if you want to use it? So, you know, great feature, new one, gets people into the apps. And I think one thing we should say about the app is we often think about apps as being about communication, just gathering information and looking for dates and things along those lines. But it's like we've used those examples earlier about using the mobile phone. You know, you spoke about role play. I've spoken about students who are out in the field doing their work. You know, this just opens up opportunities using these apps for so many sort of different activities. You know, I've seen it. You know, we talk about blended learning a lot, and you know, we see some people think, right, oh, blended learning is they have some stuff online and they have some stuff which they do face-to-face in the classroom. There's a connection. There should be a connection between those elements, those pieces. There should be something doing those together. So I've seen great work where students have maybe carried out poster work, post-it note work, that side of things. And they're able to then take a photo of this, put this into their Canvas groups, you know, through their phone, then go home and continue that discussion whilst they're in different locations across the city. You know, this really enables us to sort of connect all the pieces together, really. So I do love the apps as well, and you know they're native apps, aren't they? So they're cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Top two.
Right, another one that's coming. So let's have a look at this one then. So the new assignment process that we have. Let's think this through. I'm going to share your screen again.
Let's do it.
So we've enhanced student submissions. Let's have a look at this. I'll go full screen so you can show this.
Yeah, and we've looked at quite a number of the features and the tools that were looked at in our top 12 applied to teachers. This one is specific for students, right? This is really aimed at making that whole assignment submission process even easier. So some of you might already be using this on Canvas right now. Some of you might still be using the current interface. This is an option that your institution or your teacher even can choose to use. We'll see it coming to Canvas more broadly over the next few months. If you've ever submitted an assignment on Canvas, you'll know what the assignment page looks like. And if you see this one, you immediately notice that it looks completely different, right? So much more space to focus on the things you need to know when it comes to your assignments. And we have this nice little timeline that guides us through our assignment. So our assignment became available a few days ago. Now is the time to upload our submission. Once we've submitted it, we'll wait for our teacher to add a score and to give us some feedback. We have our assignment description, and you saw that, right? When I scroll down, our timeline kind of disappears a little bit. It becomes a bit smaller, and it kind of centers in the top right corner. So it's still available there. We can see exactly where we are in our submission process. And we can start submitting our assignments. We looked at those submission types a couple of minutes ago. What's new about the assignment changes or the assignment enhancements is that we can now start combining submission types. So we can now actually choose to submit both a video and a PDF document as part of the same attempt for one assignment, which is so cool, right? That's something that wasn't possible before.
I like that. because I think, often, we see sort of teachers separating things out, like the, group work, they need to do a presentation together, but then there's actually a recording of the presentation if they delivered it, but we then need to go and submit the presentation afterwards as well. So the ability to do two is absolutely fantastic. That's cool.
That's the one, right? And even these days, right, where you might have to do an individual presentation and you might have to submit both the video as well as the PowerPoint itself, because that makes it just a little easier for your teacher to give feedback on the content of your PowerPoint. That's something that you'll be able to do right now.
Yeah,
so that's quite cool. We again have our rich content editor available to us if we want to use the text entry option. Looks exactly the same as the editor we were looking at just before. We also have, for instance, the option to upload files, even a few more options where we can start looking at previously uploaded files within Canvas. We can go and look at our Canvas Studio library if we want to pick up a video from there to submit as part of the assignment. Or we can also go into other tools like Google Drive, Office 365, etc.
Yeah, it just brings it all in one place, just makes it really, really easy, doesn't it? I think the big thing for me, though, is also that multiple submissions and being able to see the feedback about it. Learning comes from dialogue between people. We know that, and advice on how to improve, advice on where we've maybe got errors in the knowledge, and so being able to give feedback and see that growth and have that ongoing dialogue with multiple attempts with this is huge. Really, really nice for students to be able to see that progression through the multiple submissions.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you will see, right? So right now we're looking at our first attempt for the assignment. Imagine we have submitted this one and we're trying our second. This timeline will start filling up, right? We'll be able to see all our previous attempts, including any comments that were left by our teacher. Again, comments where we can comment and respond to as well, right? We have that conversation taking place about our assignment feedback. It's not just a one-way conversation where the teacher gives us some feedback. No, we can actually respond to that feedback, not only by text, but also by responding by recording a quick video or an audio recording or by attaching files. So that feedback conversation is still there. And there is our rubric as well, right? That's being used so often now to give us feedback on an assignment. Again, that one is still available there before we submit the assignment. So we can already take a look at the different criteria that will be marked upon. But once we've submitted it, that rubric will give us our personalized feedback that our teachers have given us.
Yeah, it's and it's, I think it's the ability to see the progression in the rubrics and things along those lines as well is really useful. So if you know that in a certain criteria you're lower down, and then you're able to sort of build on that, obviously you can see where it was at the beginning of the learning process, and then you can see where it is at the end. So super cool. Okay, we're going to have to move on, Jonas. We need to go to number one.
And just a few minutes to spare.
A few minutes to spare. Oh, we've got that. Let me go back to our screen. Okay, let's go. There we go. And so at number one, we had to go with this. It's the teachers, isn't it? I left teaching 5 years ago.
You were a teacher before.
Have I never told you that?
Okay.
Yeah. I used to teach. It's in I don't know if you know where I live as well, Jonas, but it's a small town called Grantham. So Grantham, most boring town in the country. 1980. So that's an award that we have. But ultimately, my wife's a teacher. I've got friends that are teachers, and we work in an industry where we're very, very closely connected to people in educational institutions and teachers there. And to go through what has happened this year and do what they've done is just amazing. It's, I see the hard work that these people are putting in, and we've spoken about all of this technology and all these cool things that Canvas can do. It doesn't matter if there's not a passionate teacher that's doing the things that they are doing and going through that. So, we have seen CanvasCon this year where, people that I've directly worked with, organizations, put their hands up and said, yeah, we'll present, we'll come and share our stories, our things that have been successful to you. I think back to the live streams that we were running across the summer, and the volunteers of educators that we had to come onto the sessions. In North America, the people that have come on, for us in Europe and Middle East and Africa, they're sharing the stories to try and make things easier and better for the students. And so, I would say hats off and take my hat off, but my headphones are over my hat at the minute, so I can't do that. But I doff my cap to you educators for this year. We've put the community, we can talk. I've put links up earlier about community.canvaslms.com. It's where the guides are and those types of things, and it's a platform, but ultimately it's the people that are on that platform that are sharing their ideas, which is just awesome. And we were joking earlier with about our colleague JP, who is brilliant, and the thing as well that he's done, and I'll put this link out to everybody, so you've got this in the comments, you can click on it, you can see it. But what we had was JP wrote a series of blogs about institutions moving to online, and these are the stories from the real people that have had to do that. And so you can learn, you can see what people have done, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. If you're not celebrating holidays this year, just I hope you get some rest at times, because it must have been super tough teaching people. And we'll see what 2021 brings for people. But teachers, aren't they? They're the people that make the difference. I've gone all mushy and warm inside now, Jonas.
No,
it's your turn.
It's true. Could not have said it any better. I think for us as well as CSMs, that's the cool thing about our job, right? It's talking to people that are using Canvas and that show us how they are using it, because we might have a couple of scenarios in mind in which you can use a certain tool, but teachers will come up with different ways of using it. And I think it's that inspirational bit that it's just so cool for our job as well. So couldn't agree more.
Cool. We are on time. We need to go and cook our meals or whatever we're eating for our Christmas party that we're doing. So it is a fun day for us. Thank you very much, everybody that's contributed over the year to the work we do, to the live streams that we've done across the world. We'll bring these back in the new year. If you want to put things in the comments to let us know sort of the ideas that you would like us to talk about. If you're looking for help, if you are using Canvas and building things, if you get a brand new shiny computer for Christmas and you're using Canvas at some point, there is a help button to ask for help and things around there. But we wish you the very best and a happy new year.
Exactly. Happy New Year. And thank you for hosting all these firesides over the last couple of months, John.
No problem at all. It's an absolute pleasure. And thank you for taking the time to talk to us today, Jonas. I know you've had other things happen this year which have been quite exciting in 2020, which we should congratulate you on. But thanks for taking the time. It's been an absolute pleasure, sir.
No, super fun. Thank you.
Cheers. Good.